Before we get started, I'd like to give a big shout out to my man Smitty and Sim F-Ball Critic. I only had plans to go to E3, but Smitty encouraged me to attend EA Play. It was held in Hollywood, California, pretty close to Wifey's family, so it was a match made in heaven, and I had a great experience. You can find their YouTube channel links in the description below. When you stop by, tell them Shake sent you. So what up, basketball fans? Welcome to the Shake Show, and shout out to the Notification Gang. How'd you guys like my NBA Finals predictions? Predicted it right down the middle, Warriors in 5, and heck, just like in my 2K gameplay, the Warriors scored 129 points in the final game. But I don't want to waste any more of your time. Let's dive into this NBA Live 18 hands-on full breakdown experience that I had at EA Play. So first, let's start with the new stuff. There are 3 new playstyles, guard, wing, and big, and 4 new archetypes for each playstyle. Example, for your wing archetype, there's the wing shooter, the wing scorer, the wing defender, and then there's a hybrid wing archetype like the Greek Freak. At the event, my personal favorite was the big playstyle rim protector archetype. Snatch blocking shots, setting mean screens, and dunking on fools. Stuff was nuts. There's also this really cool trait system that allows you to fully customize your archetype. In fact, you can pick and choose what traits you want to use before each matchup, so choose wisely. You can customize gear, tattoos, hairstyles. More information on that will be in the link in the description below. Now let's dive into the graphics. There was a definite upgrade in the graphics this year. They had 2 development cycles, so I wouldn't expect anything less. The Frostbite engine is in the game, but they make good use of it in the background, in the lighting, and in the crowd more so than on the actual court. For the build we played, we had 2 camera angles, the broadcast cam, and a overhead 2K style cam that was phenomenal. It brought you really close to the action. Face scans look spot on, especially for the superstars. James Harden, LeBron James, Russell Westbrook, Paul George. But they do have those zombie eye moments, and there's very few stare downs. So it kind of takes away from some of the realism at times. Height and size are built to scale perfectly. I almost want to believe that they've body scanned everybody. Body types are represented really well in this year's game. For example, the Greek Freak's build differs greatly from LeBron James. Kevin Durant's build differs greatly from the Greek Freaks. And Blake Griffin doesn't seem like a carbon copy of LeBron James. Bodies in motion. Very smooth at the native game speed, but very, very slow if you're used to the 2K game speed. This is adjustable, but online matchups are going to be the native game speed. You will get used to it, but it might be kind of difficult to go back and forth between NBA Live 18 and NBA 2K 18 at times. Although dribbling looks very nice and fluid, there are times where things get a little bit jerky when being defended well. Live's mocap has never really been able to capture the human body's movement in motion as well as 2K. You have these stiff shoulders, robotic neck movements, and some zombie-like facial expressions at times. They've been cleaned up pretty well in NBA Live 18, but traces of those legacy issues still exist in the game. The arena, crowd, and lighting. I absolutely love the crowd in this game. Although I think the 2K's finals atmosphere is a little better, I still think the crowd in NBA Live 18 is definitely amazing to look at, especially when you're playing the one at Venice Beach or over at the Rucker, and that Drew League crowd was amazing as well. There are drastic, noticeable changes in environment. Overall, the game looks amazing. Now to jump into gameplay, this is where NBA Live 18 really shines. They finally added in the things that really excite us about watching basketball. There are new dribbles and ankle breakers in Live 18. There were no ankle breakers in Live 16, and they didn't feel overpowered either. If you got broke, you knew it was either your fault or just bad defense. Although I will say that some ankle breakers felt a bit unrealistic, because I saw like an ankle breaker from like 10-15 feet away. Those were some unrealistic distances between the defender and the ball handler. New dunks and posterizers. A ton of physics under the rim. Bodies collide even if you're not engaging the dunker. I didn't notice any canned animations under the rim. which means I didn't get pulled into a posterizer animation vortex. When you're playing in an NBA arena, you're gonna see your more realistic dunks, but when you're playing in the Drew League or the one park settings, that's where you'll see more dunk contest dunks. New putbacks, very easy to pull off, very smooth with the animations. I did notice a little pet peeve of mine with NBA Live where the hand doesn't really grip the rim on dunks. Not all dunks, but quite a few of them. And I did notice a huge glitch on a putback that led to a turnover. I only saw it once, so maybe they'll clean that up before release. They revamped the post game. You can definitely exploit mismatches. They've got new post fades, post spins, drop steps, all of that. Defense stands out the most. It's a mini game all in its own. Mark my words. On-ball defense is what NBA Live 18 will be remembered for. It's done so well that while playing 5v5, you will absolutely feel the intensity of a 1v1 matchup. My new catchphrase for NBA Live 18, mismatches matter. Matchups can be heavily exploited. Out on the perimeter, bigs are useless against guards. The speed of smaller or better ball handlers translates very well against slower or bad defenders. Shot blocking is ruthless in the paint. There are two-handed snatch blocks, pins against the backboard. It's crazy. Jump shot blocking in the live series has traditionally been pretty bad. It's rare to block a jump shot in NBA Live 18 because now it requires some anticipation and good timing, but when it happens, it's explosive and very, very entertaining. You have to manually put your hand up on defense. The game does not hold your hand by automatically putting your hand up to contest jump shooters. This is huge because I made a statement about this for NBA 2K's defense. People wasn't feeling me. They like the computer to automatically put a hand up. Kind of hard to respect the guy's defense if the AI is helping you all the time. On-ball steals weren't too crazy like you see in previous live games, but I didn't see any block dunks from behind, especially on back scratchers. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but it just feels like you couldn't really block those from behind. One of my favorite things to talk about is that the ball actually has weight to it. On rips, the ball stays in play. On block shots, the ball generally stays in play. On bad passes, the ball stays in play for the most part long enough for the defense to recover to get the steal. In times on 2K, I feel like the ball is more like a baseball than a basketball. Keeping the ball in play is more realistic and keeps the action going. So now we're gonna dive into controls. First up, let's talk about the dribbling, which is all on the right stick. It's very fluid, very realistic. There is a deep learning curve, and if you're used to playing 2K, pressing the right stick down doesn't do a behind the back move, it does a step back. In order to go behind the back, you have to move the right stick from left to right or right to left. So it's just gonna take some getting used to. I did, however, feel like the spin moves were a little bit less responsive than everything else. I don't know, I didn't see a lot of guys doing spin moves on me, and then I also didn't execute them very well, only a few times. You reach, I teach is a big deal in this game. In fact, if you play reach fence, you're gonna get burned. So all that spamming square and spamming X stuff you do in 2K ain't gonna work in Live 18. Crossover combos will be tailored to the user, so you'll have your own skill sets. Crossover combos don't really have lengthy animations assigned to them, so it's kind of difficult to find those, dribble cheese moves. Crossovers aren't interrupted midway through the animation, so you don't get these glitchy ball handling animations. So basically, real skill will be admired as opposed to everyone finding the latest cheese move in this game. Now on to dunk controls. Dunks are user controlled. You can go left-handed, you can go right-handed, or otherwise use the standard sprint and X or sprint and square on the PlayStation. But there are no two hands for safety dunks and no manual flashy dunks either. You have to rely on the skill of the player and the situation on the floor for, the right dunk. I personally thought this was a very prehistoric approach to dunking. I like to have control over flashier dunks in the open court. I also like to be able to dunk with two hands to avoid chase down blocks. At times you don't really know if you're going for a dunk or a layup, but you can alley-oop to self. But there's no double alley-oops or triple alley-oops, not even in the one in the park setting. I mean, that's not really a bad thing, but it made for some really entertaining moments for the top 10 plays. And now let's talk about shooting. We've got authentic jump shots. You got signature skills, signature moves like James Harden's step back. Don't sleep on Kemba Walker's step back. Might be a little better than James. Shot meter works great. Never missed a green release, but I did see some green releases get blocked. Personally, I kind of feel like the green release is a little overrated right now. Too many times during the NBA Live 18 tournament, I heard people cheering for the green release before the shot actually went in the basket because they just know it's going in. I don't know. I just feel like it sort of takes some of the excitement out of the game when you already know the shot's going in. People are like, green release, and then they know it's going in. The shot meter is vertical and it's very close to your player. So I do find my eyes kind of trained on the shot meter more so than on my actual release and the defender in front of me. This is also bad because you might miss an open cutter cutting to the rim as you're shooting, whereas in other cases you would pass out of that shot and try to hit him. No, but you're too busy looking at the shot meter. The shot meter is welcomed. It's a dope feature, but I did find myself turning it off a few times. Some jump shot animations do feel a little flicky. I mean, you have a smooth gather and base, but then you have a jerky release. Layups! Kyrie Irving and Steph Curry, their layups are godly. It's either going in or you have to block it. Reverses and switch hand layups are amazing, but you are at the mercy of that player. What I mean is you can't switch in midair out of a dunk to a layup and do a reverse. There's really not a whole lot of guidance in how to control your layups. I guess I just wasn't good at manually controlling reverse layups. It just was happening automatically all the time. Now we're gonna talk about the play calling. We didn't have access to a full playbook in this demo, but I was able to call isolation quick plays, and the pick and roll system worked to perfection. I just remember from playing the old lives that you have to hold the LB button in order to keep him there for that screen. You run around it. And once you get used to it, it's pretty beast. The secret to me winning all my games was I was creating all kinds of mismatches and necessary switches. And the pick and pop works pretty good too. Passing is also pretty good in this year's game. Icon passing is there. Right stick touch passing is there. But directional passing is kind of hit or miss. Like I tried to hit the cutter after a pick and roll, and I found myself with the directional passing accidentally passing to the guy in the corner for a corner three. Which reminds me, there are no pass controls for the guy nearest to the rim. That's become a staple for me in NBA 2K because if you're playing multiplayer with friends and someone just yells out, I'm cutting, if you don't know what position he is or who's actually saying it, you can just hit R1 and L1 in 2K and hit the guy that's cutting to the rim, closest to the basket. They should have that in live. Defensive controls, all the defense is on the left stick and on the left trigger to keep your man in front of you. Right stick up towards the shooter, puts a hand up. Oh, and by the way, this game takes the saying, hand down, man down, very seriously. If you don't have a hand up, it's like you're not even there. Defensive recovery isn't too fast, and chase down recovery on layups and dunks doesn't happen too frequently. However, you can still recover on shooters, but you might not really affect their shot. Rebounding controls are really good too. It seems like height and weight really matter in that paint. Box outs really get you good positioning unless you're really too short. There weren't too many unrealistic rebounds like a little guy snatching boards over any bigs, but I did notice there aren't any rebounding battles in the paint. Like you don't see the ball get tipped up by one guy and tipped by another, and you know people are trying to grab the ball. It's just whoever gets it gets it. And finally, instant replay. The instant replay controls, in fact, the game itself in instant replay looks absolutely stunning. You can get great angles from behind the backboard, under the players, off to the corner, in the corner three spot. You have a lot more freedom with the instant replay camera than you do in 2K. Trailer editors are gonna have a field day with this. The replay cam in 2K has been jerky and frustrating for years. Live 18 will allow content creators like myself to really expand on the highlights. So here's my breakdown recap of my first experience with Live 18. Graphics, clear graphical upgrade, action-packed overhead cam, realistic body types, a lit crowd in all venues, zombie eyes, and there's still that NBA Live awkward body movement. Gameplay, fun and easy to pick up, new ankle breakers, new posterizers, true physics in the paint, phenomenal on-ball defense, two-hand snatch blocks, the ball stays in play. But there are definitely some unrealistic ankle breakers, and the hands don't always grip the rim on dunks. In the controls category, definitely fluid and smooth dribbling, easy to moderate learning curve, little to no cheese dribbles exploited, green release shot meter, pick and roll greatness, skill-based on-ball defense, freedom in instant replay. But there's not enough user-controlled dunks, very distracting shot meter, no manual reverses, no pass to the furthest guy down, and no rebound battles. My final takeaways: I really enjoyed NBA Live 18. It was the most fun I had at EA Play. This is coming from an advocate 2K player. There's still room for improvement, and there's still time to make those adjustments. NBA Live 18 feels like a huge step in the right direction. It will be available for free with a demo in August, and there'll probably be some great opportunities for you guys with EA access on Xbox One. I predict that EA is going to do everything they can to get this game into the hands of the user. I'm a 2K player, but I do encourage competition, and I do think we'll have some top 10 NBA Live 18 plays of the week this year. So this was my thoughts on the game thus far. Hope you guys enjoyed this comprehensive breakdown. As always, smack that like tab to show your support. Subscribe if you're new to my channel, and I promise to be back with some more news for you guys later. Peace.